Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by
Mark.
Hey, Bomb. And we've just finished playing Underwater Cities, which is a heavy Euro about building, as you might expect, underwater cities. Each of these little domes is a city, and you're building like production factories. These are the sort of green and yellow things next to it that produce various things that let you build more then. And you've got to connect everything. So you kind of start at the bottom right here, and you sort of build tunnels and domes extending your network out. Ultimately though, just to try and get as many points as you can. You can see these are the final points at the end of the game here. And in terms of how you play the game though, it's essentially a worker placement game. So around the edge of the board there are all these action spots here. The green ones, red ones and yellow ones. The colours are very important because you also have a hand of cards. Let me just grab a couple here. And the cards, you notice, have got colours. So these ones are red at the top. Let me just grab a couple more. You can see some different colours. Here we go. So you've got reds and yellows and greens. Now if you play a particular card that matches the colour, you get the card's action, but if you don't, you don't. So for example, this is a yellow card, and if I play it on a yellow action, as well as getting the action, so this is different kinds of resources. If I went here, I'd get some kelp, some sort of cross between plastic and steel, I think they're supposed to be, and science, but I'd also get the action at the top of the card, which in this case moves me up on a little track here which determines player order for the next round, so that can be quite important. But if I decide the yellow actions aren't very good, or if you can see someone else has already taken the action you particularly want, you might have to go somewhere else. You can still take the action potentially, but then the card is useless, you just sort of discard it. So these are the tokens for taking the action, so maybe I want to take this action here. But if I don't play a red card, I only get this, I don't get the card action. Now there's various things you can do. So this one you can see you're building a dome and building a tunnel. There's a complicated sheet here which tells you the costs of everything. So if you want to build one of the production buildings, so the green buildings get you kelp, the yellow buildings get you money effectively, the white buildings get you the steel that you use for building things, the tunnels, obviously you need to connect everything. And then there's the costs here for the domes. So if I want to build a white dome, I need 2 of the steel stuff, a kelp and a money. So I look at my resources and, oh, I've only got 1 steel, but the pink stuff's quite hard to come by and it's like a wild. So I could use that as my steel. I'd need to pay a money as well and a kelp. These are quite clever. These are like 3s, but it looks like 3 1s stuck together, so I'll quickly change that. But I kind of pay my 1, and then I get to take the dome, and it has to be connected to your sort of network. So I could put it here, and potentially then build a bridge on the next turn. Now, once you've got it connected by these tunnel things, then you can effectively it starts working, and people live there, and then any factories built start to produce stuff as well. So at the end of, you play 4 rounds, taking 3 actions each, and then you get a production phase. And again, this complicated chart explains production. So green buildings give you kelp, and the yellow buildings get you money, etc. But if you've managed to upgrade it, you can spend science. This action here lets you spend science to upgrade your buildings, and that's why you can see some of these are kind of too high. It's an upgraded one if it's got an extra 1 on top of it like that. And the upgraded buildings get you more stuff. So you get a kelp, and this symbol here is a victory point, and you can see you're getting more stuff. But if you manage to get 2 upgraded buildings like this on the same dome, then it becomes super upgraded and you get loads and loads of stuff. So you're kind of trying to upgrade stuff here so that when the production comes around, you get lots of stuff. Although production doesn't happen that much actually. So it happens here, then you have another 3 rounds of 3 actions each, and then 1 more. And then there's 1 final production at the end of the game. So there's only 3 productions in the entire game. So that's quite restrictive. At the end of the game, you're getting points for lots of different things. And there's another little summary here which summarises the different points at the end of the game. There are endgame cards. Some of these actions, I should explain briefly, some just let you build the production buildings. This is more building domes and things. A lot of them just getting you resources. But some let you get these extra cards which you can take into your hand, and will give you various special abilities. You can see in this case you're getting money and resources, but crucially you can also take one of these end game scoring cards which can get you lots of points. So in this case you're getting points for collecting greens. You sort of cash them in at the end of the game. So people are kind of fighting for these because once they're gone, they're gone. But you're getting points at the end of the game for the number of different kind of production factories next to the cities. So I don't know if you can see this, but the more different kinds of production buildings there are next to a city, the more points you get. So this city is just worth 2, but if I've got a couple of production buildings next to it and they're different, I'm going to get more points for that. So in that case I'm going to get 4 points for that one. You kind of cash in resources in as well for points at the end of the game, but as I say, these end game scoring cards are particularly important. So you play over a bunch of rounds, worker placement style, and then most points at the end is the winner. What do we think?
Yeah, solid enough. I do like the card hand management, working against what I actually want to take, hoping people don't take your spot, because it can be really important when you're chaining it along with the card colour. Interestingly, that's the second game along those sort of lines with Guzhong recently, so it's kind of going up a little bit against that for me. The variation scoring is really good, as in everybody maximising different areas. We were competing, but we were competing different ways. I also like the fact that at the end of the game you've done that kind of build up something in front of you, which is important to me. I've got somewhere at the end of the game. I think this thing's biggest problem is just we've kind of had a bit of a good solid last few months of heavy Euros, and I'm not sure for me this one sticks its head above the previous version of Guzhong or Teotihuacan that's been recently. So it's good, but it wouldn't make me wish to play it over those, and that makes it tricky at the moment.
Okay, Chantal?
It does a lot of things, and there are some things that it does very well. For example, I absolutely love the clarity of the iconography, which is really important when you have a game that heavy. For example, just the tiny things about the little arrows there, when like these type of arrows tells you that you need to spend these things in order to get the points, whereas these ones, you only need to have these in your game in order to get the points. Those details and that coherence is really important, and that really helps, especially when you have that heavy sheet in front of you. It's actually really easy to read once you know what you're looking for. However, this is not a game for me. I love worker placements, I love building an engine, and the problem with the production hitting only 3 times the whole game and having only workers, like only 3 workers around, means that if you don't get the card, and you're gonna have to waste turns in order to find the cards that you actually need in order to build your stuff, it's gonna be a very long game. Also, because you're drawing those cards, and then you need to take your action, you're gonna have a lot of APing, and I was the worst for that, for the whole game. But you can't quite prepare for your turn. You need to have the cards and then think about the less worse action. And there is one way to mitigate it, which is to go to that action where you can exchange 1 card for 2 cards. But for that you need a worker on a 3-worker round. So yes, it's really depressing.
Okay, Avon.
Yeah, I can go with the views of, yes, there's a lot of very heavy Euros that it's up against, and yes, it can be a little bit AP prone. It is a very heavy game. I look at it and there's a lot to take in, a lot to work out. I would play it, but it would be fighting with all those other heavy Euros. It wouldn't be above them, probably not that far behind them. I think what I'd say this would really suit someone is if they like a heavy Euro and maybe there's only going to be 3 players or 2 or even solo. There's not many, I don't generally solo game, but this game I'd probably have a go or 2 just to see if I can work it out, because there's so many different moving parts to it. So yeah, for the right sort of people, you know, this would be perfect.
Okay, rating?
I would give it a 7.5.
I'll give it a 7 because what it does well, but know what you're getting into.
Mark?
The AP pronus pushes it to a 6.5 for me.
Okay. I really like it. All their comments are absolutely right. It is very AP pro. And there was a couple of times where I was like, I think I'm going to do this. Oh no, hang on, no, let me take that back. Oh no, but maybe I should. It's really difficult because there's so much going on. It's really nice. You can go for one kind of building, which means you're going to get a lot of points in one direction, but then you're kind of costing yourself points in another direction. The card play is really nice. You're always thinking, oh, I really want to get the benefit of this card, but I don't really want those actions. I prefer the actions over there, but I don't have the cards for that. There are ways to mitigate the card draw, but you can get a little bit done in sometimes if you're not careful, particularly if you don't have resources. It very much benefits from replay. But in terms of an engaging Euro, I think it's really solid, and I enjoyed it all the way through. It was quite long, but I didn't find I was bored or was waiting for my turn or anything at any point. You're always going to get done in potentially with the worker placement thing. You just need to be prepared for that, I think, and have a backup plan at any given stage. Alright, thanks very much for watching. On my rating, I would give it 8 out of 10. It was very good. Alright, thanks. That was Underwater Cities.